back to the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Berkeley. Here goes today, Aaron and Joe. Go and say hi, guys.
Hello.
What up?
Alright, so in this video, we'll be doing another edition of our weekly NFL predictions. This time going over week 10 of the NFL season. But before we get started, let's go over last week's results. So, heading into last week, we had Aaron in first place with a one-game lead over me and Joe, who are both tied for second. This past week, Aaron came out on top once again, finishing 13-2, moving his record up to 81-41. Me and Joe both tied with each other yet again, keeping our records tied with each other yet again. We both won 11-4 and are now both sitting at 78-44. 3 games back from Aaron, so he got 2 more games on us, and we're just fighting to stay alive now, Joe. So
I can't wait to blow it in the last couple weeks. So that'll be fun. But if you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let us know what you think.
all right, so starting off with our Week 10 predictions, we've got our Thursday night football matchup shaping up to be a pretty good one between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Bengals have a chance to get themselves right back into the playoff hunt, as a win here would move them to 5-5 and knock the Baltimore Ravens down to 6-4, leaving just a game between the two with still one to play later on in the year. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but I just don't see any way the Bengals are going to be able to keep the Ravens from putting the ball in the end zone, so it'll probably end up being somewhat of a shootout. I do think the Ravens are going to run the ball enough to where Bengals won't really have much time to put up a lot of points. So it'll probably end up being something more along the lines of like a 31-28, 31-24 kind of game. But I do have the Ravens coming out with a victory and, kind of knocking the Bengals back down to earth a little bit.
I think I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. I'm not quite convinced that T. Higgins is going to play yet again. So down a receiver already. I think that Bengals offense could struggle. Some recent additions to that Ravens secondary could also give them a little boost, but I kind of agree with you. I think that Ravens run game is going to be just a little too much for the Bengals to deal with.
I got Baltimore. Rooting for Cincy though.
Yeah, me too.
As a Steelers fan, this one, if I have to pick either of these ugly teams, then I'm gonna just take the Bengals this week.
Helps you out in the division if the Bengals win.
Exactly.
Next, we got the Germany game, the European game this week, early Sunday morning, between two.
We apologize in advance.
What do you mean? These are two powerhouse franchises in the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers, both coming into this game with an impressive 2-7 record. Actually, for the Panthers, it kind of is impressive to be 2-7 because most people thought they'd be 0-9. I thought they'd be 1-8. So the Giants, on the other hand, just absolute disaster once again. Panthers, I would say honestly, maybe not in their eyes. Maybe not in their eyes. Maybe overachieving a little bit already. I know that's crazy to say, sitting at 2-7, but I think they've got 2 more wins than most people thought they would have. As I just continue to beat that dead horse. I don't know. This game is really ugly. I don't want to pick either of these teams. It may end up being a 0-0 tie for all I know. But I think I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm going to go with the Giants in this one. I think they just have better players than the Panthers, especially the Panthers just shipping off Deontay Johnson before this past week, and now Jonathan Mingo, another one of their receivers. So I just don't think the Panthers are going to have nearly enough talent to win this game. The Giants are a fairly talented team. They just suck for some reason. So give me New York.
Yeah, I'll go with the Giants as well. I don't think the defense is the problem there in New York. I think we all kind of know it's the offense. That D line for New York, Sexy Dexy, really puts on a show every game, before and after his sacks. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
I'm like looking at the Panthers trying to find a reason to pick them. Man, they give up a lot of points, dude. I was thinking like maybe J.C. Horn can slow down Malik Neighbors, and I don't know. Yeah, go Giants. I don't know.
Yeah. Next, we got the New England Patriots taking on the Chicago Bears. A couple of good defenses with some offenses commanded by rookie quarterbacks that are a little stuck in neutral at the moment. Drake May has looked fairly good despite, just basically playing behind no offensive line and, turnstiles up front where the defenders can just run straight through them and get to the quarterback. The Bears just don't seem to have very good offensive schemes or play calling right now. Caleb Williams not getting a whole lot of help from his O-line either. So it could end up being a really low-scoring game here where both defenses kind of shine. I think the Bears probably have the better offense, though, so I'm going to go with them this week. As I think, like I said, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think whoever has the ball last may end up winning it, and I think that'll probably end up being the Bears. So give me Chicago.
I think I'm going to go with New England.
Coming off a loss to the Titans?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I have a little bit more faith in Drake May to go out there and win the Patriots a game than I do Caleb Williams. I mean, the Bears should win this. They have by far and away the better roster, but Drake May's looked good his last couple outings. And I have serious questions about the coaching staff there in Chicago. So they should easily win, but I think I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Patriots.
I don't hate it. Drake May almost had 100 yards rushing this last week. Ramondre Stevenson did have a real bad game outside of Drake May. That's tough. The Bears are so up and down. Patriots flat out suck. I'll just take the Bears. Doesn't matter. I'm already 2 games back or whatever behind Aaron. Fuck it.
Got to get you guys back in this.
Doubt it.
Next, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who didn't really look much better with Joe Flacco under center this past week. But granted, they probably do still have a higher ceiling, or a higher floor, I guess is probably the more proper term, with Joe Flacco under center than they did with Anthony Richardson.
Maybe ceiling too.
Maybe both, yeah, maybe both. Definitely floor, though.
Mm-hmm.
Bills, I mean, they should win this game. They're the better team. Amari Cooper's starting to, settle in there at the receiver position, kind of opening up the game for Keon Coleman as well, who's had a couple big ones now since Amari Cooper got added to the team. Josh Allen could end up putting on a show in this one against a Colts defense that's not that great. So, give me the Bills in this one. I think Josh Allen kind of fights back a little bit against that Lamar Jackson MVP talk and tries to insert himself back into the combo.
Yeah, give me Buffalo. I think that offense is just too much for the Colts. Josh Allen's too good. Give me the Bills.
Next, we got an AFC West matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. A game that, the Chiefs should win. But for some reason, I feel like they're not going to. I'm still going to pick them. But with Buffalo next week, I think there is a chance we walk into this one looking ahead a little bit to that Bills game and maybe get caught sleeping against the Broncos team that has shown flashes from time to time. Their defense is really good for the most part, at least up until last week. So that could end up being, just a fluke. Could end up being more of them showing their true colors. I'd like to think it's more of a fluke. Again, I'm still going to go Kansas City, but I think it's going to be a way closer, tougher game than it should be, just like every game's been for Kansas City this season. But they should move to 9-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well. They don't really blow anybody out anymore, which really is not great for the heart. But kind of like you said, they play close games. It's a division game, so I would expect yet another close one as a Chiefs fan. But I'm gonna go with the Chiefs to pull it out yet again.
And of course, I'm going to go into that game, though, watching it as a fan and be like, oh, we should win this one going away, and then be surprised when it's close down the stretch.
Never sees the shock us, Berg. So I have the Broncos just for the hell of it. I put them as like a 10A, 10B team last week in the power rankings. And they gave me a real boost of confidence by going out there this past week and doing the amazing job they did. I gave them the ranking based on the defense, specifically in that they might be legit, and they gave up 41 and only put up 10 against Baltimore. So, I mean, even if I still did believe in that, which I don't, it's out the window after that showing. I still believe in that 15 at quarterback. I'm still rocking with him no matter what. So, Chiefs, no doubt. I have the confidence that you guys don't.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It'll be a 3-point win, I promise. Next we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints. Falcons are rolling right now, and with another win here, they could further cement themselves as NFC South champion, probable NFC South champions. Don't see any way the Saints can come out with this one. Not with, losing Dennis Allen. Well, I don't know if that's much of a loss, especially depending on the Saints fans. But, just firing your head coach, just traded Marshawn Lattimore, arguably their best defensive, maybe their best player, period, to be honest. And Chris Olave, is he going to be back for this game, or is he out with in concussion protocol, I'd assume? Because he damn near died, and I don't want to see that happen on live TV.
He's in protocol, that's all I know.
He is questionable.
Okay, well, for his safety and health, especially with this being like his 6th concussion since college or something like that, I would highly recommend, not that I'm a doctor or have any say in what he does, but I would recommend sitting out this game, especially with the season basically cooked. So Falcons should win this one.
Yep, Falcons. That Kirk Cousins led offense is too hot, and the Saints are on a real cold streak. Really, the only bright spot is Alvin Kamara, but he can't do it all. So give me the Falcons.
I think there's a good chance the NFC South could be solidified this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with the Falcons.
If the Falcons win and the Bucs lose, I think it's all but wraps, because at that point, basically have a 4-game lead over them, and only 7 games to play. So.
And the Falcons' schedule is very favorable to end the year.
Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers taking on those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So definitely an uphill battle for them this week as they go up against a team that's coming off a bye. I'd assume D-Hop and maybe even Debo, and maybe even Juwan Jennings are playing in this game. Christian McCaffrey is possibly eligible to return. I don't think the Bucs defense is going to be able to keep the Niners offense from putting up points with all their players rested, some of them returning from injury. Niners should win this one probably fairly easily if their defense shows up.
Yeah, I think this game's a little bit more in question had the 49ers not been coming off a bye, having 2 full weeks for Shanahan to draw up a solid game plan. I think I'll take the 49ers in this one.
Niners, I might come back to it.
Yeah, the bye completely changes any sort of argument. I would have had for the Bucks, I feel. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Washington Commanders. Both teams lead their divisions right now. Both teams only with 2 losses. Steelers coming off a bye this week, so they were going to be pretty rested up. Meanwhile, the Commanders just knocked off. Who did they play last week? Giants. Yeah. So basically a bye week for them as well. I mean, this could be interesting. The Commanders have a great offense and kind of a mediocre defense. The Steelers have a great defense and maybe slightly better than mediocre offense. So kind of a clash of 2 different styles of teams. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore should theoretically be able to play. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I mean, defensive playbooks are probably a little easier to learn than offensive playbooks because it's basically just like you're in a zone, you're in a man, and this is who you're supposed to be looking after. I'm probably simplifying that way too much, but
those are the basics.
I think I'm gonna go with the Steelers in this one. The Commanders, although they've been winning, they've looked a little shaky these last 2 weeks. Took a literal Hail Mary to beat the Bears a couple weeks ago, and then probably a closer game than you would have liked against the Giants last week as well. So I think the Commanders are probably starting to run out of gas a little bit. Maybe looking for that bye week to come up here soon. Meanwhile, the Steelers are coming off, their bye week, rested, ready to go. And that defense could cause some problems for a rookie quarterback. So, give me Pittsburgh.
Yeah, as much as I like Jaden Daniels, I think the Steelers' defense is one of the most disciplined defenses in the league. I don't think they're just going to let him, scamper away and run around all game, especially with as good as that D-line is. So, the offense looks to be reformed a bit under Russ. They just got him a new weapon in Mike Williams. Again, coming off a bye, I think I'll take the Steelers as well.
That one caught me off guard a little bit, Aaron. I know I dog on you about hating on them, but man, this one I felt like it would have been okay to say that with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers. Either way, this one. You guys kind of made the points. I'm picking the Steelers outside of being a fan. I believe in the Steelers defense more than I do. Yeah. One interesting thing that'll be maybe fun to see, Russell Wilson against Bobby Wagner.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Like all the ball. So, I mean, late in their careers, like that, maybe they might have a little fun. Maybe Wagner gets him. Going to come down to Jaden Daniels and if our defense can force the turnovers, but I don't think Jaden Daniels has also had T.J. Watt coming at him or Minka Fitzpatrick at the back end of that defense too. Yeah. So I mean, it could be a really good game. Washington wouldn't shock me if it somehow comes out. But
that Bobby Wagner wrinkle is interesting though because I didn't even think about that, and he could definitely maybe at least give. I mean, at this point, you should know a lot, most of what you need to know about Russell Wilson. He's been in the league for fucking 15 years. But maybe he could give them a little bit of insight onto his tendencies or something. I don't know how that works. But
Bobby Wagner, no, he's
as long as you're not a streaker running on the field, I think you should be all right against Bobby Wagner.
Next, we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Vikings seem to have steadied the ship a little bit after looking a little off for a couple weeks, picking up 2 straight losses. Now they're seem to have rounded back into form. Meanwhile, the Jaguars still bad. Christian Kirk out for the year. Everybody else on the offense is injured and playing through something, like Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne. You got Brian Thomas Jr. Gabe Davis didn't even play last week. You just traded your left tackle Cam Robinson to this team that you're about to play, so that'll be nice to reconnect with him, rekindle that relationship for one afternoon, and probably get the shit kicked out of you by this Vikings team, and that's probably what's going to happen. So I'm going to go with the Vikings winning this one, and Jacksonville, oh, how far you've fallen, my friends. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, the Vikings, kind of like you said, coming off of 2 straight losses, go out and get a big win against the Colts. Now, in the first half of that game, they didn't score any points. They scored all 21 in the second half. So I think they're probably going to look
bad
to get off
quarters. Who's
to.
counting?
They're probably going to look to get off to a hot start, and this is a decent team as a get right game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Vikings as well.
I like the way Burke put it. He had a nice description of the Vikings, and then he said, and then we have the Jags are bad. So that's kind of what I'm going to go based on that and go with the Vikings.
Yeah, both sides of the ball, not just offense. Defense is also bad. Next, we got another bad team, Tennessee Titans, taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, who could be a sneaky playoff team this year. Sitting at 5-3, should move to 6-3 because I've got them winning this game, and it really shouldn't be any sort of question with the way Herbert's playing right now, the way they're able to run the football. Titans defense, I don't think is really as good as we thought it would be at the beginning of the year. The offense is definitely abysmal. The Chargers defense is pretty good, so I don't think the Titans are going to be able to put up many points at all. Chargers should be able to put it on them a little bit, similar to how they did this past week. So give me LA.
I mean, poor Titans defense is tough to be good when you're on the field 75% of the time.
Fair. That's fair.
So they're probably worn down for an entire season's worth already.
Yeah.
They've only played 8 games. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. Elite run game, and Herbert's playing well. Getting some decent production out of their receivers, especially Ladd McConkey. That I don't think that a lot of people expected. So
Chargers. Johnston out of nowhere, just resurrecting his career.
Looks like a real receiver.
Yeah.
All he had to do was catch it. That was the problem. It was just catching the ball.
No, he was a good route. Yeah, he got open, and then threw the ball.
Chargers. Yeah, you guys said everything. Chargers.
Next, we got an NFC East matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys probably going to be out Dak Prescott this game. I think they already announced Cooper Rush is starting. Trey Lance apparently is just in purgatory right now down there in Dallas. After being drafted 3rd overall, he has started a whopping 4 games or something in his career, and Dallas chooses to go to Cooper Rush over him, even though their season is not over, but maybe worth taking a look at Trey Lance, or probably more so letting other teams take a look at Trey Lance, because if he's good, maybe trade it. Well, he's on the last year of his contract, so never mind. That's out the window. But regardless, I'm surprised you're going with Cooper Rush in this scenario. Philadelphia, on the other hand, is kind of picking up steam. Almost dropped one to Jacksonville last week. It was a little scary, I'm sure, for Eagles fans, but they were able to hold on and got that big pick at the end to clinch the win. I just think they're kind of rolling right now, and I don't really see the freight train stopping anytime soon, especially against this Dallas team. So I'm going to go Philadelphia in this one.
Yeah, Dallas team that struggled to stop the rush all year against an Eagles team that has Saquon Barkley rolling.
Yeah.
Give me the Eagles all day.
Yeah, I'm going Eagles. Just like Aaron said, I mean, when we talk about Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and at the same time, you can also talk about what Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are doing right now to other defenses, as far as at least scoring touchdowns. So don't see Dallas stopping it.
Next, we got the New York Jets coming off their first win in 7 weeks, taking on the Arizona Cardinals, who's leading the division over there in the NFC West with a surprising 5-4 record. Well, it's more so surprising that 5-4 is leading the NFC West more so than the Cardinals are 5-4, because that division is kind of just in shambles this year. But regardless, could be a pretty interesting game, I think. My only concern is that the Cardinals' defense hasn't been tremendous. They've had their moments here and there, but they've definitely shown a tendency to get scored on. The Jets kind of seem like they're hitting their stride a little bit, or what you could call a stride of some sorts for the first time this year.
Maybe like a limp.
Yeah, like they're starting to move. I do think the the Cardinals run the ball a lot. James Conner gets some of the most carries in the league. The Jets, I think, could be a little vulnerable to that. I do think the Cardinals are going to be able to run on this Jets defense and maybe even open up some opportunities for Marvin Harrison Jr. downfield. So I'm going to go Arizona, but reluctantly, to say the least.
Oh, it's funny you say that because I'm gonna reluctantly go with the Jets.
We're both reluctant.
Yeah, I think their defense is just gonna be just good enough to hold the Cardinals. And then, kind of like you said, I don't really have a lot of faith in the Cardinals defense. And with just another week of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams kind of getting back and getting their chemistry together, I think I'll go with the Jets. Reluctantly.
Of course, very reluctant. We're all reluctant.
I keep picking against the Cardinals, and they keep winning. With that being said, I might as well just keep the trend going. I'll just go with the Jets. Cardinals probably win it.
I hope so, man. I'm rooting for them. Next, we got the Detroit Lions taking on the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. And you haven't seen, then if you haven't seen yet, we've got Keegan-Michael Key advertising this one all over TV recently, and what seems to be a church choir robe. So, just keep an eye out for that. The Lions are the best team in the NFC to me. The Texans have kind of shown a lot of their flaws these past few weeks, especially with no Stephon Diggs, no Nico Collins. Offensive line has been pretty bad recently. CJ Stroud getting hit a lot. So I think the Lions are going to win this one. I think that defensive line for the Lions is going to cause some issues for the Texans up front. And then I also think the offensive line for the Lions is going to cause some issues for the Texans defense up front. So probably be able to run it all over the Texans to an extent. Jared Goff will be able to pick apart zone defenses, man defenses whenever he needs to. But yeah, Lions should win this one. I just don't think the Texans are as good as their record indicates.
I'm gonna go with the Lions. That O-line for the Texans. Really worries me in just the addition of Zadarius Smith to the Lions D-line. It's just another little a layer to my decision here. Lions have looked dominant in all of their almost all of their wins. That run game is just nasty, so I'll go with the Lions.
Detroit.
All right, then finally we have our Monday Night Football matchup between the 2-6 Miami Dolphins and the 4-4 Los Angeles Rams. Now the Rams, I actually think, are really starting to heat up. Dolphins too, to an extent, but they just haven't put up the wins to reflect that right now. Meanwhile, the Rams are actually starting to kind of get themselves back in a playoff contention, only being, like I mentioned last week, I think, a game back of the Cardinals for the division lead. I think the Rams are the better football team right now. I don't think losing Tre'Davious White's going to be that big of a loss. I think the defense has been playing pretty well with or without him in the lineup. Specifically because that front seven's been better than I think we thought it would be without Aaron Donald, especially recently. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse seem to be getting on the same page again. Dating back to their Florida State days, obviously. They seem to be settling into the NFL now these past few weeks. Specifically last week, I know they were wrecking havoc. So, yeah, I'm going to go the Rams with this one. I just think the Dolphins are not great. I think they're fine. I think Tua's probably still working his way back from injury a little bit. Getting better and better by the week, obviously, but I just don't think that defense is very good. So Matt Stafford, that offense should be able to pick them apart. And yeah, I don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to keep up scoring with the Rams in this one. So give me LA.
Since Tua's been back, that Dolphins offense is sort of taking a step each week. Put up, what was it, 27 points last week against the Bills, who's
I think
not a
back to
bad
back
defense.
weeks of
So
27, if I'm not mistaken.
they're coming around. But yeah, I think in a shootout, a clutch situation, give me Matt Stafford and the Rams over the Dolphins.
I completely agree with everything both of you guys said. However, beginning of the season, I was with the Dolphins because of Tua. He's back week 3. They lost both games. Maybe they go to LA with a 50-50 split crowd and sneak one out on Monday night.
You're going with Tua over Nakua?
I'm surprised I'm taking him over Stafford, dude. I'm telling you, I'd rather pick the Rams, but I'm purely picking this one based on I need to make some ground on somebody at some point, and maybe this could be one game I gain on each of you. So I'm kind of doing it for the sake of picks, just to make things interesting. But yeah, if Puka Nacua doesn't get ejected out of last week's game, who's telling how that game ends up? Because Cooper Kupp still went for over 100 yards, no problem. So the Rams are good. I'm a fan of the Rams. I'm liking what they're cooking right now, getting healthy. So,
dude, I'm telling you,
realistically, that's what I'm want.
If the Rams would have started the season healthy, I think they'd be like 6-2 right now. But injuries suck. So
McVay, man, they're doing stuff over there. The coaching, they got them to 500 right now. Good for them. So I'm with you guys, and at the same time, I'm just gonna pick against you.
Well, unless y'all got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Zuckerberg Burkle. Here goes today, Aaron and Joe. Go and say bye, guys.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to leave your NFL Week 10 predictions down below. Let us know what you think of our predictions as well. And most importantly, deuces. Have a good day. Like and subscribe if you made it this far, please.